Hi folks, Tim Sundles here. As you can see, this table is full of 357 magnums, from long-barreled revolvers all the way to super short-barreled revolvers, all the way to carbines, and I got extras on the sofa. The 357 is so versatile and has so many uses. We're going to do a comprehensive series on the 357, from the carbines to the snub noses, and we're going to, it's going to take probably 3 or 4 videos to cover each segment and to cover the uses. I don't just want to skim over it and leave people without solid information. So there's going to be a part 3, a part 4, there might even be a part 5 where I do some shooting. Some people are complaining that I don't do enough shooting. So, you know, it's like, okay, you want to see some shooting on film, we'll do some shooting, but it'll be at the end of the series. We'll probably do some with the carbines and the snub noses and all of them. Okay, my wife is insisting that I tell you that our links now on our affiliate site, which is Buffalo Bore Outdoors, our links are up with Midway USA. Midway's been carrying our ammo for decades, and people keep saying that they're out of our ammo, but you know, they order every week. So if they're out, I don't know why. But they order every week from us. We make big shipments to them. But anyway, our links are up. You can go straight from Buffalo Bore Outdoors to Midway.
Or YouTube, it's on. Our link is...
Yeah, well, oh, really? They can go right from YouTube to...
The link on the profile.
Okay, whatever. I don't know how this technology works. I don't really give a rip. She always tells me, talk about it. Well, if I don't talk about it, I have to hear from her later, so it's easier to talk about it. Let's get started with the cool shit. And I'm going to start with snub noses, work my way up through the long-barreled revolvers and all the uses of each category and design of revolver in the 357, which is going to include 38 special, because there's a lot of good 38 special applications for some of these, especially in the snub noses, that I want to talk about. And they matter. They're really important. First, let's go with one of the most significant developments in my mind that Smith & Wesson ever did. That's these scandium, titanium, aluminum, molybdenum, gold-plated freaking revolvers. This is the 357 mag, and if my wife will get a close-up, look how much bluing is worn off it, you know. And I bought it new. It's got laser grips on it. You can see the laser there on the table. There was a time in my life when I carried these everywhere, but an 11-ounce 357 has meaning. I mean, it's, you know, little 5-shot J-frames, they're worth owning. Let's discuss their uses. Now, if you're a sick, twisted individual like me, you'll buy 2 and put laser grips on both. And you'll put one in your back pocket and spare me the lectures on how unsafe that is. I've logged in tens of thousands of hours carrying pistolas in my back pocket, and pistolas, revolvers, I carry them in my back pocket.
And let's see if we can see the hole usually that's in your back pocket.
Well, I don't know if that one's worn out or not.
Usually, no, that one.
A lot of my pants are worn out. There's holes in the back pocket. And that doesn't mean you can't carry something in a hip holster at the same time, because you're sick and twisted and you got to carry 2 guns, you know. So let me show you what I like to do. And by the way, I do feel that holster carry is just a more definite, more secure type of carry. But there's a place for pocket carry. There's a place for your small of back Mexican carry. People get sewn in or cornered into their little paradigms, and they don't understand that there's a place for all of this. So don't be a Karen and tell me how unsafe it is to carry this stuff in my pocket. What I like about these, and I was going to mistakenly say hammerless. They're not really hammerless. They just have an internal hammer, not an external hammer. What I really like about them And if you go to our YouTube video on my personal EDC guns, we talk about this more. But you can put one of these in your coat pocket. And if you want, since there's no hammer, you can shoot right through your pocket with these things. So if you get in a really tight, bad, fast situation, or you want to walk around with a hand in your pocket, which freaks police out, so please don't do it around police. And it freaks them out for this very reason. I mean, right there, and I've practiced this. I've ruined a few old beat up coats just getting used to doing this. But I mean, I can hit that light right there from this distance. And that's all the distance this is meant for. You just raise and bang, 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 bang. And there's, with a semi-auto, moving slides, or with a revolver with an external hammer, you're likely to get hung up on material inside your pocket. So let's talk about this for a second. So really sick, twisted people, I'm not one, I just know a bunch of them. They'll have a gun in this pocket, they'll have a gun in that pocket, and you know, if you really like a certain type of gun, don't just buy one or two. And this one has the exposed hammer, but you can have one in your vest pocket. Now I know people are just lighten up, okay? So anyway,
we don't do this actually. We just are
no,
playing it on.
This.
We're just playing it on TV.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. Thanks, babe. So now that we are emptying all of our pockets, so we can talk more about the guns and the ammo that works best in them.
Because we don't really carry them in our pockets or our coats.
I mean, look. I'm disturbed, okay? I'm not going to hide it. And don't be a prude. There's a place for semi-autos, too. This is a SIG P365. It holds 11 rounds of plus P9mm. So can we all lighten up a little bit and not get painted into a certain corner? I use all types of guns for all types of reasons. And there was a time when I was into martial arts. And I talked to some people that only did Shotokan. And then I talked to other people that only did Kung Fu. Then I talked to people that only did Taekwondo. And, okay, look, if I stick my finger in your eye, stick my finger in your eye. And it doesn't matter what I studied or what form or anything else to learn how to do that. So guns are no different. Guns, the use of guns, I mean, there's a lot of sports that guns are used in, but the use of guns is a martial art, okay? The use of knives can be a martial art. High school wrestling is a very useful form of martial arts. They just don't have the choke out holds and the arm bars where you break arms and stuff. They just don't have that in high school wrestling because a lot of people would have short careers. But the basics you learn in boxing or in the collegiate high school type wrestling, those are all martial arts. So can we open our minds a little bit and not paint ourselves into a corner and limit what we know and understand? Let's talk about the ammo choices for these excellent little 11-ounce 5-shot revolvers. I don't shoot any 357 mag ammo in these. If you want to experience hand pain, and believe me, if anybody's impervious to recoil, it's me. I shoot all kinds of heavy kicking stuff, have been from most of my life. Now the arthritis is starting to get to me from doing that for decades. I got calcium deposits on my knuckles from trigger guards hitting my middle knuckle. I got it all. You don't need 357 mag ammo in these little guns. First of all, when these aluminum, scandium, titanium cylinders, if you shoot super high pressure 357 mag full power ammo, you're going to get sticky extraction in these. And I won't go over the metallurgy as to why, but you'll get it. Not only that, short barreled guns have super short ejectors. Okay? If you shoot 357 mag brass in that, when you push the ejector, the brass won't fall out. You'll have to push the ejector and then pick them out with your fingers. With 38 special brass, you have a much greater chance of the brass just falling free, especially when you go from these little 2-inch jobs. Technically, they're 1 7/8 inch. When you go from these to 2.5 inch and you get that much longer ejector, then 38 special really falls free nicely. But there is a tactical advantage if you're in the mood for fast reloads to using 38 special brass in these. I've shot a ton of 357 mag ammo in these, and that's why I don't anymore. I stick with 38 special, especially some of our loads. Some of our 38 special plus P loads are, I mean, they're the cat's whiskers. They're way powerful. So let's talk for a second about ammo. If my wife can zero in right here, this load, this is our 38 special item 20A. It was the first 38 special load we ever made. And it's very soft lead with a gas check. And out of these little 2-inch guns, it's going 1,000 feet a second. So out of a 2.5-inch gun, it's going to go about 1,100 feet a second because of the pressures it operates at. Gains velocity really quick for the first 3 or 4 inches of barrel, and then it slows down. I tend to not even use 20A at 1,000 feet a second unless I'm using an all steel gun. And you know, here's the same gun in all steel with about a 1/4 inch longer barrel. I don't know why Smith & Wesson did that. Same gun, just all steel, much heavier. It's probably 18, 19 ounces as opposed to 11 ounces. And if I'm gonna carry this gun, it generally won't be in a pocket. It'll generally be in a holster. And I'll generally shoot item 20A, the full power 38 special plus P. Now, this load and this load, those are the 2 loads that I will carry in these little J-frames, these little Scandium J-frames. They're very lethal. They've shot a lot of people in over the 25 years we've been making these. And I can't say that one is better than the other. I tend to prefer the full profile wad cutters because of their depth of penetration. That load will get 900 feet a second out of this gun. This load, the 158 grain with the soft lead that'll mushroom like crazy, it'll get 850 feet a second out of this gun. So those are the loads I carry in these little Scandium, titanium, little numbers. And if I go to all steel and I have a whole, well, let's call it a collection of these little Model 60 J-frame 5-shot in steel. I have tons of them. Then I'll use the item 20A, which is the 1,000 feet per second load. And these are all made with flash suppressed powders, although in really short barrels, you're gonna see some kind of flash. It's just gonna happen. Next, how many minutes in are we, babe? Does it say on there?
13.
Okay, if these videos get much longer than 20 to 25 minutes, they don't upload all that well. So we got to keep them in that time frame. Next, I want to go to the next size up, which is these 2.5-inch barrel Model 66s or 2.5-inch barrel Model 19s. They're the same gun. 66 is stainless, 19 is the old blued steel, and these 19s are old. These are 50-year-old guns. They got pin barrels, and I've got more than one. Now, with these, I don't carry these for outdoor use. If I carry one of these, which I don't much anymore, I used to, I'll use that item 20A, that 1,000 foot a second, 158 grain soft lead. And because they're gas checked, item 20A and 20C are both gas checked, they don't lead barrels like the old FBI load. That item 20A is the FBI load on steroids, and they don't lead barrels. And you know what a good reputation the old FBI load had an excellent reputation for stopping human threats. But so unless you're a really sick person, you only have one of these. If you're like me, you have 2 of these. I may have a 3rd one somewhere. And same with these old pinned and recessed chambers on these old Model 19s. If you're a normal individual with normal brain function, you have one and you love it and cherish it. I have 2. On to the pythons. Now, for me, this is just for me, your mileage may vary, but for me, these pythons, and this is a Lipsy's special, a new python. There's nothing wrong with them at all. I don't like them as well as I like the old Smith & Wesson K-frames. The K-frames are better balanced in my hand with the 2.5-inch barrels. They just are. I can't tell you exactly why. There's no flies on this python. These new pythons are a lot sturdier than the old pythons. And you know, they're just a super cool gun, super usable. I prefer the 2.5-inch K-frames to the 2.5-inch python. That's a personal choice. And you know, a lot of people are gonna disagree. Now, back to the J-frame. I find this little 3-inch adjustable sided J-frame, all steel, to be really, really usable outdoors. And you know, for almost any kind of purpose. The extra sight radius and the fact that it's all steel, and if I want, I can shoot full magnum loads out of this thing, because the gun's built to take it. One of the most useful outdoor tools. This is the kind of thing that a guy should have on his belt and have a spare one in his tackle box if he's a fisherman, and have a spare one in the glove box or under the seat or beside him or taped to the steering wheel or whatever. These things, I just don't have a hard time hitting a deer at 100 yards with them because of the adjustable sights and that extra barrel length, 3 inches. And 3 inches is where I start with outdoor revolvers. That's as short as I go with outdoor revolvers, is 3 inches. That's, again, a personal taste thing. It has to do with the versatility of the gun with the longer sight radius, the extra velocity. Like I said, I can hit a deer at 100 yards with this. And while I may not be very good at picking exactly where I hit the deer, I'll hit it at 100 yards. And you put a 35 caliber bullet, which is what 357s and 38s are, 35 caliber bullets. You put one through both lungs, the deer runs, the deer dies. And I have more than one of these too. I just didn't bring it up because I just wasn't feeling that sick and twisted. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful design. And anybody that has used these and that knows how to shoot will concur. I know I had a long talk with Brian Pierce one day about the 3-inch Model 60s. We both concur. They are so stinking usable, they should be illegal. There's so many uses. Still super concealable. You know, it's a good social carry gun. It's a good outdoors gun. You can shoot full power ammo. You can shoot less powerful ammo for social carry. My outdoor guns are generally full power ammo because I may have to stick a bullet in a bear, or I may have to survive out there and kill a deer at extended range. I use the full power stuff in my outdoor guns. So we will stop part 1 of the 357 right here. And we will move on into the 3-inch and the 3.5 and the 4-inch guns and their uses all the way up to the 6-inch 357s when we get up into end frame Smith & Wessons and how durable they are and all the wonderful uses the end frames have for big guns. So anyway, we will conclude here. We're starting the 3-inch segment. That's a 3-inch Model 60 J-frame. This is one of the newer ones. It's not new enough to have a Hillary hole, thank God. But it is new enough to not have the hammer-mounted firing pin. It's got that transfer bar in there I'm not wild about. The gun works really well. I don't have any complaints with it. Anyway, folks, this will conclude the 357 mag comprehensive series. This is part one, and I hope it's of some use to you. By the time we finish with these, you'll know most of what there is to know about the 357, short of getting out and shooting a ton of it yourself, which is how you really learn. Leave you with our best from Tim and Kim, and God bless. We'll see you on part 2.